For those with a passion for the sea, who seek to discover what lies beneath, comes the opportunity of a lifetime to explore the underwater paradise on board the Ocean Adventurer. Each episode, Captain David de Villiers and his crew, First Mate Roddy Tor and international freedivers Hanli and Peter Marshall, meet up with an adventurer on a personal quest.
That's amazing!
To investigate unparalleled biodiversity and wildlife in the unique marine ecosystem at the spiritual southernmost tip of Africa. The Cape of Storms is surrounded by hidden reefs and formidable seas. It's a place where legends are born, where mariners share tales of ghostly ships crewed by tormented sailors. But for the Ocean Adventurer and her intrepid crew, it is the place to get closer than ever before to the animals of the deep. It's the place for full immersion and daring escapades. It's the ultimate playground. All aboard the Ocean Adventurer. On this episode of The Ocean Adventurer, our explorer pushes her mind and body to the extreme on a freediving mission that will take her deeper into the ocean than ever before.
And then it just comes into your mind quickly, oh my gosh, this is 3,000 feet below me.
The deep blue can be daunting. Luckily, she'll be surrounded by ocean specialists. Skipper David is the perfect guide. He's effectively circumnavigated the globe 6 times. Now he wants to share his passion with others.
I started freediving around the kelp beds of the Cape, and as I got into deeper and deeper water, I just started pushing myself more and more and realizing by default how capable I was of staying underwater. And it's been an incredible discipline for me to learn. It's given me some of the best experiences of my life.
By his side is trusted First Mate Roddy Tor, who shares David's love of the sea. From big wave surfing to freediving, the ocean is his personal playground.
Freediving takes you into another world. We've got such amazing coastline here with such amazing wildlife beneath it. So it just opens up a whole different playing ground, really, where you can just go and have a lot of fun and just interact with animals and be in another world.
The conditions are perfect on the Cape of Good Hope. Time to get our adventurer on board. Much like Roddy, Jessica Lee is a water baby looking to go beyond the surfing experience and see what more the ocean has to offer.
My relationship with the ocean, wow. Well, it's the longest relationship I've ever been in.
From the youngest I can remember, I'd always spent all of my spare time in the ocean. Both my parents worked quite a lot, and I used to just kind of be left up to my own devices. And myself and my childhood friend, we used to just build sandcastles, go body surfing, explore the rock pools. And then as I grew up, I got into bodyboarding and then surfing. The ocean's like a second home for me. So my life can be pretty chaotic at the best of times. Studying, part-time job, everything that I have going. And to be able to go to the ocean in the evenings or in the afternoons or any time that I can get off in the early mornings, it allows me to sort of center myself, I feel so comfortable in the ocean. Hey, Roddy.
Hey, Jess, how's it?
How you doing?
Well, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, hey, I'm good.
Cool.
Just thought I'd bring my board in. I've got a couple of dings.
Oh my goodness,
look at.
let's take a look. Just pop it up on the stand here.
It's a tight-knit surfing community in this part of the world, so news of the Ocean Adventurer is traveling like wildfire. As a surfer and someone who studies environmental philosophy, Jess is the perfect candidate for an ocean adventure.
I'm studying environmental philosophy under the Environmental Humanities program. And at the same time, surfing's always been a big part of my life. And both of those areas are about our connection with the environment and with the ocean.
Environmental philosophy questions the place of humans in the natural world. The movement started back in the 1960s, when fears that human self-interest and a growing population would degrade the environment and deplete resources started to grow. These days, the field looks at ways humans can interact more gently with their natural surroundings.
I'm hoping that through this freediving experience, I'll be able to draw some links and come to understand things in a new light.
Hanli is an 11-time South African freediving champion and the ideal instructor.
I spent over 10 years competing as a freediver, and some of those really, really deep, focused, very intense dives along the rope have been phenomenal. But my very first time swimming with a playful pod of bottlenose dolphins blew that experience completely out the window. And that's when I eased off competing and started focusing on diving with animals.
And completing the task force, American world champion swimmer and fellow freediver, Peter Marshall.
I think when you're on just one big breath, you can swim down there and look at the eye on this whale, look at the eye on this dolphin, and you can see there's something going on in that animal's head. And I think once you realize there's this whole emotional world that's drawing it towards you, it's curiosity, it wants to know what you're doing down there, it just makes this world a little bit more magical.
For Jess's adventure, I realized that the first thing I needed to do was to get her up to speed really quickly. So paired her up with Hanli. Hanli could take her through the paces and get her up to speed quickly.
Jess will have to take a deep breath as she's about to explore this familiar environment in much greater depth. False Bay is a freediving paradise. With its clear, shallow waters, it's the perfect place for Jess to practice. Along the peninsula are hidden coves, protected from the swell, abounding with marine wildlife. Kelp grows in clusters close to the shore, forming underwater forests, an ecosystem favoured by divers. For surfers, however, kelp presents a different kind of challenge.
So Jess, have you dived in kelp before?
Geez, other than being held under a couple of waves in the kelp forests at the Corm, no.
Involuntary diving.
Involuntary diving. No, I've never. I mean, you know, we get tangled up in it when we're surfing on the top.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've never really thought about like what's happening under there. And there's obviously a lot happening under there. So
it's quite a magical experience. It's like a mystical forest down
Yeah.
there. So it's a completely unique experience. It's really great. Actually, it gives me a great sense of comfort diving in the kelp.
Although this marine garden appears serene, for a novice diver, swimming through the tangled kelp bed can be unnerving. But Jess is building up her courage.
Let's get in the water. Let's
check
go
it
and
out.
experience it.
cool.
David is bringing on board marine expert Mary Rowlandson. She's part of a team of fisheries scientists investigating new methods to better understand the number and variety of fish living in our oceans.
Hey! Hi. I'm Jess. Mary. Nice to meet you. Mary. Mary.
She's got a good idea of the wonders Jess is about to encounter in the Marine Protected Area, or MPA, hopefully including the enigmatic 7-gill shark. In MPAs, human activities are strictly controlled, promoting conservation.
Right, guys, we're right in the middle of Miller's Point here, where we've got some beautiful kelp forests. We're really lucky today. We've got top to bottom visibility. So when you're swimming at the surface, during your deep, slow breathing into your belly, you can start looking out for the silhouette of sharks at the bottom. And when you see one, take that big breath, stomach, chest, shoulders, really fill it up, snorkel out, and then you can pop down and go visit them. Jess, you and I will buddy up, so we'll stay nice and close together, keep an eye on each other.
I'll be close.
I'll be close. You're gonna be like my little remora on the side.
Exactly.
Immediately I feel like I don't want to see sharks, but I actually know that really deep down I do want to see sharks because of the sort of fear that I have of them. As surfers, we sort of like always afraid that we're going to bump into one. So I would like to see one just so that I can come to see that they're not as dangerous as I always think that they are.
Being a freediver is very different from being any other kind of waterman or waterwoman. You cannot rely on adrenaline and you cannot allow yourself to get pumped up like you do for surfing. You actually have to pump down, so to speak, and slow down your thoughts, slow down your energy, slow down everything so that when you get in the water, you can freedive. She's such a natural in the water that within a few minutes, she got herself heart rate down, calm, diving down, enjoying the kelp. It was great to see her experience that environment that she often is on top of what is actually under her.
When you go down and you turn up to that light and the sunlight comes like streaming through, yeah, it's just really quite beautiful. After about 10 or 15 minutes, I just got caught up in the beauty of the kelp forest. I mean, it was just so incredible being down there that I stopped thinking so much about, oh, am I doing my proper checks? Am I this? Am I that? Am I down here for long enough? I was just like, it's fine. Just be down there as long as you can and enjoy it. And then, you know, come up when you're gasping for air.
Equally as passionate about this environment is Mary, who's part of a team involved in groundbreaking work in this area.
So this was the area of your research. I'd really like to hear more.
Yeah, we did do some research in False Bay. We dropped down underwater video cameras to survey the fish in the area. It's a very simple rig. It just has the camera attached to one end and the bait attached to the other, and you basically drop it down for an hour or however long you decide to and observe all the fish that come into the frame of view, just to determine what species are here, how many fish are here in this biodiversity hotspot.
So what was the most interesting species you caught on camera?
Well, for me, I caught a great white shark on camera, which was incredible for me, because not often do you actually get the great whites on the camera themselves. Unfortunately, in terms of the rare species that I hope to see, such as red steam brass and red roman and things like that, we didn't see as much as them as we would have liked.
Well, the guys are diving today in the marine protected area, so we really hope for their sake they get to see a lot of those species.
Yeah.
The visibility is great, so it's a perfect opportunity.
Perfect opportunity today. The other great thing about these baited remote underwater videos is that we can use them in MPAs without compromising the management objectives. So we're not actually taking anything out of the water like we do when we fish, and we normally use fishing for surveying. So with this, it's a non-destructive technique, it's non-extractive, plus the fact that we can see everything in the environment. We can see the habitat the fish are living in. And more species are attracted to the cameras than they are to the hook. So this allows us to see everything and not just those fish that are of commercial importance.
I mean, it's a really special place. With it being a marine protected area, nobody's been able to take, legally, they're not allowed to take anything out of that space. So it really is a glimpse into what the oceans would be like if we didn't tamper with the wildlife there so much.
One of the most mysterious species living amongst the swaying kelp fronds is the seven-gilled shark. It is an important apex predator in this fragile biome. False Bay is one of the only places on Earth where diving with these sharks is possible. Colloquially known as cow sharks, their numbers appear to be in decline off the coast of South Africa, a trend also affecting a number of other fish species.
was it, guys?
It was so beautiful down there.
Yeah, the visibility is great.
Incredible. It's like a whole forest underwater.
Yeah, you did some great dives.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to stay more and see them, but I'm so cold and I'm pretty hungry too.
Let's go shower and eat.
The water freezes at the moment.
Easy.
Nice.
Cool.
Well done, Missy.
Thank you. That was great.
At this depth, one can spend a lot of time down there, which is nice because there's so much to see. The spiny starfish, all the red Roman.
Did you see red Roman down there?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
That's really good news.
Absolutely. I actually saw the biggest red Roman I've ever seen right here under an overhang.
So what's the story with the red Roman? Because we see them at this dive site, but not anywhere else.
The last sort of 10, 20 years, their populations have taken a massive dip. So outside of the marine protected area, you used to be able to find them a lot. But because of overfishing, mainly line fishing, they've all, their populations have disappeared.
Yeah, that's great then, because these marine protected areas are actually working then.
Yeah. We're about to lose Jace. Let's go feed her. Let's go.
Although the team were lucky enough to see many smaller shark species, Jess was spared a big shark encounter. But Hanli has got a surprise up her sleeve.
It was awesome to see you in the kelp, Jace, and your dives are looking so great. Like, you're totally relaxed, long dive times. I actually think I want to get you out a little bit deeper. And
Exciting.
I know just the place. Deeper water, warmer water. And yeah, it's 3,000 meters deep enough for you.
3,000 meters. Did you say the water's going to be warm?
I could really use some warm water.
Yeah, I could use some warm water. I was just trying not to think about the 3,000 meters that are below me.
From where we are now, we head straight south, past Cape Point, keep going for another 3 hours. The water turns blue, it gets warmer. We have infinite depth underneath us, and it's the perfect place to dive deeper.
Great, great.
The ocean adventurer heads further out to sea, where Jessica will face her next challenge, diving above an undersea canyon. The Cape Canyon is located 35 miles off the coast. It is here that the Agulhas current sweeping southwards from the tropics and Benguela current intersect. In this mixing bowl of hot and cold water, marine life thrives. There's a good chance they can attract blue sharks to the boat with the help of a little chum made from fish oil and sardines. In the meantime, Hanli wants to continue with Jess's training.
It's been really great watching you guys get more and more comfortable with your freediving, especially in these dynamic ocean environments. So, Roddy, you've done a little bit more freediving and open water freediving than Jace has. I'm curious, Jace, how are you feeling about getting in the water in the open ocean, bearing in mind that right now underneath us is 3,000 meters of water and all kinds of marine wildlife?
Sure. A mixture of feelings, I think. Very excited, but also quite nervous. I suppose I didn't really think about it that way, that there's so much space beneath me, you know?
It's quite a surreal thought to think that there's 3 kilometers down to get to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And we're going to be floating around up on the top of all that.
I'm just hoping that because there's that much ocean, it means that the wildlife, some of the wildlife are quite well spread out. Maybe just the ones I don't want to bump into.
Yeah, it's disregarding the fact that we're actually putting chum in the water to bring them closer to us.
Yeah. No, but actually saying that, I mean, I do want to see the wildlife. So, yeah, I'm really excited to be going in at this out here. This is where the waves that we surf get made, you know? This is where the swell's from. So, yeah, it's going to be good to get into this space.
We're used to spending so much of our time on the surface of the water, and we follow the swells and the forecasts relentlessly, and we chase every swell. So it's a great opportunity for us, an experience to get out here, to be so far out where it actually all starts for us.
Absolutely.
And then to get down below and see what's actually going on.
Hey guys, I think we're ready. Let's go get kitted up and get in the water.
Cool.
Awesome, let's
go.
do this. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
I'm a firm believer in growing outside of our comfort zones, and suggesting to Jace that we should go and freedive in the far, far deep south of Cape Point in 3,000 meters of water definitely got her outside of her comfort zone.
Yeah, it was quite a different experience coming out into the deep. I think it's quite hard to comprehend the sheer amount of space that's beneath you. And then like it comes into your mind quickly, like, oh my gosh, you know, this is 3,000 feet below me.
Freediving does come with risks. The most common, the biggest risk is shallow water blackout, and would most typically happen when people are coming back to the surface, and with a lack of oxygen, in a very simplistic explanation, you will have a blackout. But we will never be taking people to that extreme. We are probably only pushing people halfway to the reserve that they still have, or the capacity that they have, with the exercises that we do with the wildlife.
The human body is incredibly adapted for being underwater, and our body responds to that. From the very second our face touches water, our body morphs into a kind of inner seal. Our mammalian dive response takes over, and we don't control it. It literally takes over, and we become a diving mammal. The second your face touches the water, your heart rate slows down. This is called bradycardia, the slowing down of the heart rate, to conserve oxygen. The second thing that happens is vasoconstriction, a constricting of the blood vessels in the legs and arms, where the blood is shunted back to the core where it's most needed, getting pumped to the brain to oxygenate what needs to be oxygenated when we're diving. And thirdly, our spleen actually responds in an unbelievable way, something that was discovered first in seals, called the spleen response, where the spleen constricts to around half its original size, squirting out oxygen-rich blood flow into our bloodstream. So it's like a kind of blood doping, except that it's completely legal, and we do it without thinking about doing it. And slowly, slowly, we turn into a diving mammal, able to spend more time underwater freediving.
Nice. Well done. That was so good. I love just seeing you getting more and more relaxed and staying down longer and getting deeper. It's great. Freediving is so much about the process and not about the goal.
Yeah.
And as soon as we stop focusing on like where we're headed,
Yeah.
it just opens up and depth just comes.
Just want gills. You know?
Give me gills.
Give me gills.
Exactly.
After more time in the water with Hanli, Jess is better prepared to push herself even further. The blue sharks have turned up. Will she remember to keep calm when she's completely surrounded?
Okay guys, there has been a change in the weather. This is the Cape of Storms after all, and things change daily.
Yeah.
We have been chumming for an hour, so we have got sharks behind the boat, and they are inquisitive, and they are friendly, and they will come up to you. So just keep calm, just don't worry about it. They may even rub themselves along your body, come and nuzzle in a bit.
Come in for a little cuddle.
There's nothing wrong with giving them a little push away. The only thing you don't really want to do
fingers first or what?
is keep your fingers to yourselves.
So not, I mean, obviously we're not going to, I'm probably not going to have the desire to, but one shouldn't reach out
Only
to
if
them.
you feel like they're just too much in your space, you can push them away.
You can push them away,
But-
and
Yeah, it'll be fine.
it'll be fine.
And keep an eye on each other for our
Look at that
freediving
fin,
stuff.
look at that fin.
Gorgeous.
Oh, we're
Oh my
in.
gosh, I'm so
We're on.
excited. Okay, you guys ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Masks, fins, snorkels,
Yeah.
white belts, gloves.
Everything.
Got everything.
That's
This is incredible. Look at this guy right here.
Yeah.
Okay, Jess, I'm right behind you. Good luck. I was intimidated by sharks, I'll be frank. It just seems completely unnatural to me. I have encountered them. Most of my encounters have been while surfing, and when you're surfing and you see a shark, it's terrifying. You just want to get out of the water immediately.
So you're busy trying to concentrate on all of these things, and the next thing, there's sharks swimming all around you. I actually was like really getting out of breath sometimes, like forgetting, you know, and just sort of looking at them all around me and then looking behind me to see if they were there. And yeah, it was It was a bit overwhelming sometimes with them, you know.
You just got a fin slap ready.
It was just great to see her experience that and see her just suck all that up, because it really is an intense ocean experience when you're that far from land and in so much water.
In some ways, I mean, I suppose I did expect to see some of the marine life that I did, but I never expected to interact with it in the way that I did.
It's always a toss-up for me about which part of the adventure I enjoy the most, whether the actual encounter with the mammal or the marine animal, or seeing how much the adventurers enjoy it and how much they get out of it and what they take away from that experience. Both of them are so rewarding, and it just makes my job great.
Holy moly, this is incredible!
I did not expect to see that many sharks in the water.
Aren't they beautiful? Oh. 20 blue sharks. Perfect.
Yeah.
And how blue is the water?
Perfect.
It's unbelievable that we're still like,
So good.
we're still in South African waters. Well, Cape waters, and it's so blue.
Feels like we could be in the tropics, like
Yeah,
the Caribbean.
completely. And you were doing some nice free dives. You're definitely inspired by free diving with
It was
sharks.
amazing. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
The ocean adventurer is full of surprises, and Jess has now had an encounter with a multitude of sharks. Not bad for a day's work. With another day dawning, the adventure continues. The ocean adventurer and her crew are driven by desire to conserve and protect the marine wilderness. When trawlers are spotted on the horizon, David feels compelled to take a closer look.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey. I've got a little idea. It's a little bit off the wall, but could be an interesting freediving experience.
Yeah?
Just spotted a trawler, and maybe we can jump in behind and see what's in the bag, around the bag. Could be something very interesting.
Sure.
Okay.
Is it safe? What are the risks?
The risks are getting tangled up in the net and getting pulled in as a serious bycatch. Realistically speaking, the water is very clean, so we'll have a very clear visual on the net. We won't go in the water, the visibility is bad, but we'll have a very good vis on the net, and you'll be able to keep your distance and not be caught up in it. If there are sharks, they will be feeding on the bycatch, but that's no more or less risky than being in sharks elsewhere.
Totally.
So
No, I
the
think
same risk level there.
Sounds great. For safety reasons, I don't think we should take Jess with us yet. It sounds pretty full on.
I agree completely with you. For Roddy as well. I think it's just for the advanced freedivers.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
And we get going.
Cool.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Awesome, guys.
What are we doing this for?
No sane reason whatsoever. We definitely want to see the biodiversity behind the bag. As the bag starts getting pulled up, the purse is drawn closed, and the bag will start to merge right behind the trawler. And all the little bits of fish that fall out the net are going to attract a huge variety of wildlife.
At what point are we going to go ahead and jump in?
We're going to wait till we see the bag coming close to the surface, and we're going to drop close to the bag. We don't want to be anywhere near getting entangled in it.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to be bycatch.
Wait, what do you think about this boat that's trawling? They look like they're fishing.
they're fishing. They want to pick up one of the big yellowfin tuna. They'll be sitting around, taking off the little bits of fish that fall out of the net.
We got to look out for the net, we got to look out for the sharks, and we got to look out for these guys fishing for the sharks.
Yes.
Other than that, nothing to worry about.
So how does this trawling work?
They basically have two steel doors, which is attached to a net, which they lower all the way down to the sea floor. And then they scrape these doors with this net all along the bottom of the floor, gather all the fish, everything in its path, and then they haul it up to the surface, which is what is happening now, which is why the ship is slightly slanted downwards, because it's going to be so heavy at the moment.
So how much of the fish do they actually use?
Well, most of the trawlers here are fishing for hake, but you're going to see when it comes up that there's going to be a lot of different species. And this is the problem with the trawlers, is because they're not species selective. They catch everything in their path, small fish, big fish, whatever is down there.
What David and the team are attempting is insanely dangerous. This industrial fishing trawler is about to pull in its huge haul. There are so many ways this could go wrong, from getting tangled in the nets, or drowning, or even a shark attack. Despite their collective years of diving experience, they could be endangering their lives. The team takes the risky plunge. Underwater, they are confronted by a shocking sight of human greed.
Oh my God! It's huge!
Thousands of fish are indiscriminately caught in the trawler net and in the wake of a trail of death and destruction. Overfishing is the biggest threat to marine biodiversity today. Commercial fishing vessels are taking wildlife from the sea at rates which are too high for fish species to replace themselves. As a result, some populations are on the brink of extinction. Bycatch, or marine animals that are caught unintentionally, are also heavily affected.
A bit disturbing to see the destruction that the net causes. Oh, it's just all churned up, the water goes dirty, all little bits of fish, broken fish, half fish, dazed fish with their swim bladders exposed, just sort of half dead swimming around. Seals are gorging themselves silly. I didn't see any shark or tuna on this dive, but that's the best thing to see first thing in the morning.
What happens once it goes onto the boat?
It's processed on the boat. They will generally throw away the things that they don't want and keep the species that they do want. And the reason why they do that is because they can only take a certain amount back to shore, and they can only take certain species and certain lengths, and etc., etc. So they have to process everything on the boat, so when they get back to shore, they're actually meeting the criteria.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fish. This is really devastating.
And until you see how many fish it is, you don't understand.
No, you don't.
Right?
And they're doing this, a couple of times a day, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there are a number of boats in the area doing the same thing.
Oh, I can see them moving still.
But this is why we have such a problem with monitoring fish populations. It's because all of the fish that are being thrown away is not being documented. So how can we monitor the populations, especially when we're depending on the data from trawlers and from other commercial fishing boats? How can we monitor the populations when they're not even documenting half of what they're catching?
You know, I've always known what trawlers do and how they work, but actually seeing it, it's quite heartbreaking. It was really hard to see that. It gave me a sense of desperation, actually, that there's not really enough in the ocean to do that. So it was hard to watch, yeah.
Sure, David.
Hey, Hanli, how was that dive?
That was probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life.
Industrial fishing is not pretty.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I've heard so much about bycatch and the waste, but to actually see it, like, moving in front of you like this horror show spectacle, it's the most disturbing thing. You see all these fish with their bladders burst and they're like dying and dead in the net and floating around, and oh, no, that was horrible. Horrible, horrible. No, I mean, if we want to keep eating fish, we need to get better at not destroying everything else in its way. I'm not quite sure what I was expecting getting in the water this morning, but nothing could have prepared me for that level of destruction and just how disturbing it was to see that.
You can tell where that net's been. It's not been in the middle of the water, it's just been pulling straight along the bottom.
But at one stage, I'm sure I could see at least 50 meters of net with fish in it, and that's what I could see, and then it kept coming. So what, like?
I would say it was probably the length of the trawler itself, the net.
I'm just all that waste of all those little creatures just dead.
Yeah, that's a little too much. It's a little too much for me to take in.
Shaken by the scene of devastation, David wants to come and share their underwater experience with the biodiversity expert.
Hey Mary,
Hey.
I brought you a couple of presents from the deep.
Fantastic. Was this falling out of the net, or was it?
This is all bycatch. Came off the back of the net,
Okay.
and some of it dropping out the bottom of the net.
Wow. Starfish. This is definitely not something you'd eat.
There were hundreds of these falling out the bottom of the net, all these mollusks.
You can see here that it's very interesting that they've all exploded. It's from coming from so deep and then coming to the top. The changes in pressure, literally all their internal organs, their eyes are just popping out and exploding. And I mean, not only does it reduce the quality and the economic value of these fish, but it also means that any of the bycatch has no chance of survival. What was it actually like being underneath the water and diving in that?
But to see it up close, it's really disturbing. I mean, you're seeing thousands of these fish, distended swim bladders, eyes popping out, broken, absolutely useless. So much wastage, and it's incredibly destructive.
And this is just a fraction of the bycatch.
Yeah, correct. Within our area here, we've got 5-6 more trawlers doing the thing twice a day. So, in a small area of the world, this is happening globally on a daily basis. Certainly makes you think twice about fish fingers.
It certainly does.
After the shock of the trawler dive, everyone is keen to put the experience behind them. Luckily, an uplifting encounter is just around the corner.
Pilot whales!
What?
Whales! Come guys, get them, get them!
I didn't even think about seeing pilot whales. And the next moment we're sitting on the side of the boat and it's like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many, there could have been over 100.
This is the thing that I love the most about our water off here. You never know what you're going to get.
Inspired by the diving opportunity of a lifetime, Jess and the crew are in high spirits. The name pilot whale is thought to originate from the notion that the pod are piloted by a leader whale. The family structure reflects the highly social nature of these whales. Group sizes can vary, ranging from 20 to 90 individuals.
I was actually so excited when we first saw the pod that I jumped in the water. I hadn't zipped my wetsuit up. So I was like, I'm getting in the water, I don't care if I'm not ready, and I just dived in. In the excitement of the moment, it's very tricky to get down and hold your breath because you're swimming after the whales, you want to keep up with them. So at the same time, to stay calm and relaxed and focused and trying to get into that meditative state where you can do a nice deep dive and feel comfortable is tricky. I would feel like I'd been down deep and that I'd been holding on for quite a while, and then I'd see Hanli another 15 meters deeper and David even deeper, as I'll be like, oh, I've got to keep practicing.
Yeah, it's so much easier to keep up with them with the monofin, and they also tend to be a little curious because I move like them. So I always find that when I'm diving with whales, I choose to wear the monofin, and when I'm diving with sharks, I use the bifins. So cool!
They were everywhere, and all of a sudden they kind of appear out of the blue, and they're just looking at you. They have these really blue eyes with a white space around them, and they just look at you from the side, and it really is checking you out. It wants to know what you are. What are you doing here? I haven't seen you. What kind of creature is this?
It knew that we were watching. It knew we were curious in them, and it was curious in us.
Yeah, they come closer because they want to know what you are.
Unbelievable creatures. Pilot whales are more intelligent than we can begin to understand. So little is known of their behavior. They're very, very hard to do research on because they're not that easy to track and to actually be social with. They're quite happy in their own company. They've even had a bad reputation in the past, been known to pull divers down and get aggressive because they don't like being interfered with. So to have the opportunity to actually get in the water with over 100 whales, tiny babies, bigger juveniles, and be accepted and be allowed that privilege of swimming along with the pod and actually being able to see these animals coming underneath us, turn onto their belly, which is the most I am vulnerable, I trust you communication you can get from an animal, and swim along with them in their movement at their pace. I'll never forget that.
They were so receptive to us. They were just cruising. They allowed us to get in close and in amongst them. So that was a fantastic experience.
Wow. I was definitely very nervous. It kind of like there was quite a bit of distance, and then they started turning to get a better look. So they were a little bit more interested too, or maybe more comfortable. I don't know. I don't really know what a pilot whale's thinking, but I was actually at a loss for words when I got out of the boat. It was incredible. David's fulfilled the challenge I set him, and more. I don't think I really expected to see what I did, you know, and I feel like I've learned something new about the ocean, a lot new about the ocean, and I feel that my relationship with it is closer, and I feel like, you know, that I care about it even a lot more.
The threats facing our ocean are so much more apparent than people think. You know, we stand on the shore and we gaze out at the sea, and it's so vast that it doesn't cross our mind that it can be at risk. How can something so big be in danger? It seems so incredibly invulnerable. And I think that the reason for our ocean degradation is that human beings have lost their connection with nature and have lost their connection with the ocean. If I say elephant, zebra, giraffe, people have a picture in their head, or grizzly bear versus polar bear. But who knows the difference between a humpback whale and a southern right whale, a heaviside dolphin and a dusky dolphin? We need to paint a picture for these animals, because if we don't, who'll miss them if they're gone?
The bigger message of all the stuff that we do, we are trying to create appreciation of the ocean. So one of my personal beliefs is you can't really create conservationists by drumming in hardline messages about what is happening to the environment and what is happening to species. Rather, try and create interest and love for animals and the ocean. And by creating an ocean lover, you're going to create an ocean conservationist, hopefully.
Next time on Ocean Adventure.
I have a deep love for humpbacks, and they're here. They come right past here to go to their breeding grounds, so I think there's a good chance we might see one.
There it is, coming up right in front of them.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, they're so close.
Looks like they're in the perfect spot.